Now to a huge story, 53 years in the making, from an era where turmoil/pain/division in our society, I dare say, was greater than what we're living through right now. In the spring of 1968, the Vietnam War was at its height. The leader of the nation's civil rights movement had been assassinated, and the younger brother of an assassinated president was himself gunned down while running for president.
Names I haven't mentioned.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? Is that possible? It could. Is it possible, ladies and gentlemen? It is possible. He has. Not only Senator Kennedy. Oh, my God. Senator Kennedy has been shot. And another man, a Kennedy campaign manager.
If you know nothing of those times at all, you still know the name of Robert F. Kennedy's assassin, Sirhan Sirhan. He was 24 years old, a Jordanian national, when he shot Robert F. Kennedy and 5 other people in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. All but Kennedy survived. Sirhan Sirhan never denied the guilt and was sentenced to death. But in 1972, California abolished capital punishment, and so he has lived as a prisoner for the past half-century plus. And he still may die as a prisoner. But today, for the first time in 16 attempts, Sirhan Sirhan got the decision that he was hoping for from a California parole board. No prosecutor was in the room. They did not appear before the board to oppose this request to be let out. That is also a first in Sirhan's case. And 2 of Robert F. Kennedy's sons urged the members to grant parole. Others in the family are on record firmly against it. It is not a firmly done deal, however. The final decision rests with California's governor, who is A, facing a recall election in less than a month from now, and B, has called Bobby Kennedy his hero. And now let me welcome my very special guest tonight. Kerry Kennedy is the 7th child and 3rd daughter of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Kennedy. Kerry, by my math, I think you were just, 8 years old when your dad died. Thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this extraordinary development.
Yeah, you know, all of us in our family and so many friends of my dad and all of us are shocked, horrified, scared, and just really cannot understand how this parole board would let something like this happen. You know, he thought about it in advance. He killed my father in cold blood next to my mother, who was pregnant with my little sister, Rory. There were a gazillion witnesses. You got to stop showing that. You have to stop showing that. You can't have me on and show that film, please.
Well,
stop.
I'll ask the control room to take that down. I apologize.
Yeah, thank you.
I do apologize, Kerry.
Yeah, I mean, please.
This is raw. I mean, this is extraordinarily raw.
I mean, just think about this. Just think about over 50 years of watching that again and again and again, of this forced PTSD. I'm never knowing when you're going to see it. And then they say what was it? It wasn't heinous enough. It didn't rob 11 children enough of their father. It didn't rob our country enough of this great leader who sought only to heal us. And look at what's happened to our country as a result. And then they say it's okay. Let him go. I don't understand it. And I can tell you, I'm going to fight this with everything I've got, and so are my siblings.
How does that square with your 2 siblings, Robert and Douglas, who did not oppose this? I want to know about the dynamics. I mean,
listen, Bobby believes that there's a conspiracy theory behind the vaccines. He believes that there's a conspiracy of all the pharmaceutical companies. He believes that there's a conspiracy that disappeared the flight that was lost over Asia. He is believes there a conspiracy theory about my Uncle Jack's death, I mean, just find one and he'll go out and promote it. And he's been banned from Instagram and Facebook and Twitter because of his promoting these absolute untruths again and again and again. So why in the world anyone would take him seriously is just beyond comprehension. And my brother Douglas, I haven't seen his statement, but what I understand, he talked about the importance of compassion and forgiveness and love. And, you know, we're all for compassion and forgiveness and love, but even if you have a puppy that goes into your shoe closet and chews up your shoes, you forgive it, but you don't let him back in the shoe closet. I mean, my gosh.
So Douglas, I'm just getting the reporting myself. Douglas said, I'm overwhelmed just by being able to see Mr. Sirhan face to face. I think I've lived my life both in fear of him and his name in one way or another. And I'm grateful today to see him as a human being worthy of compassion and love. There are still two more levels through which Sirhan must clear in order to actually gain freedom. One is the further review by the full board. This was just a two-person panel. And then, of course, the governor. And when you say you're going to fight this, walk me through the process.
Well, we're trying to figure out that process right now. So this came as a shock to us this evening. And I can't comment on it right now, except to say that's exactly what I know. What I've been told is that there's a 17-person board, and then Governor Newsom, you know, I talked to him a few years ago, and he recited from memory about 5 different speeches of my father's from start to finish. So, and Daddy is really his hero. And I think I'm hopeful that he will be able to see this through the eyes of my family and frankly through our country. This isn't just about my family. This is about our entire nation and the world who lost this great, compassionate, loving, peaceful leader at a time when we needed him most.
The politics of this, Kerry, can't be ignored. The district attorney decided that parole boards should know, or rather prosecutors should no more be weighing in on parole, that their job should end upon conviction, and that the process after conviction should be who the prisoner is now as opposed to who he was or she was at trial. And for that, the prosecutors were not present. I can imagine that this is a cruel sting for you.
Well, as I said, I think that we're just getting the information tonight and trying to sort through it and determining what the next steps are. But I can tell you, we will be fighting this. And
are you?
You know,
sorry, go ahead.
When you lose your dad at such a young age, I mean, we were blessed because a lot of people stepped in and a lot of people worked hard to help my mom and to be there for all of us. But there's some things nobody else can do, and it really leaves the work of love undone. And I have 9 siblings, 9 surviving. So there are 9 of us now. There were 11. It's hard to imagine that our family, you know, this has caused untold pain and trauma to each and every one of my siblings, and to my dad's brothers and sisters, to his nieces and nephews, to so many people who loved him, to my mother most especially, to his mother, and then and his father, and then to my children. I have three daughters who never met their dad.
Kerry, have you had a chance to speak with I assume your 6 other siblings. If there are 9 of you and 2, Bobby and Douglas, didn't oppose, in fact, supported the parole, that would leave you and 6 others to commiserate. Have you had a chance to connect with your siblings over this?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we have, and we've all agreed that we're going to fight this.
Have you had a chance to talk to Bobby or Douglas?
I haven't spoken to Bobby or Douglas today. I've exchanged some texts.
And how did that exchange, what was the tenor of the exchange, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, look, this is not about my siblings. This is about our country. This is about what the system of justice is in our country. And it's about what happened at the parole board today. So let's focus on that issue and what happens next.
It is slightly astounding, I think, for a lot of our viewers to even think that this was a possibility, given the fact that Sirhan was condemned to die for this murder. But for, overturning the death penalty in California, he was then commuted to life, a life sentence, but not life without the possibility of parole, which is so frequently what the step down from a death penalty is. Why is that? Why was he given life, but not life without the possibility of parole?
I can't answer that. This is just so extraordinarily painful to me and to all of us. It's just not something that I've spent a lot of time focusing on. It's just too hard. And as you pointed out, he was up for parole 16 times. 16 times. People are saying, well, why didn't more of you guys weigh in? Now, none of us had any idea that this is even vaguely a possibility. I mean, no clue. Who would have thought that after 16 times, oh yeah, you better let them know. You better weigh in. You better show up. If we had known, we would have.
I mean, the astounding thing is, for those 16 appearances, he never acknowledged or repented for what he did. He admitted it, but he says he has no memory of it. And there is nothing to indicate in the early reporting at this point that he has repented for it now. All he has said is that he wants peace and that he's a changed man and that he hopes to be deported to Jordan or live with a brother in California. But still, one of the number one, we all know this. You don't need a legal background for this. And I know you're a lawyer. We all know that one of the major tenets of being granted parole is accommodating for what you've done, acknowledging what you've done, contrition, that sort of thing. That didn't happen. From what we're gathering, that didn't happen. And so it's all the more confounding.
Yeah, right. Two of the issues they look at, as far as I've learned, and again, just recently, is the heinousness of the crime, the premeditation of the crime, and has the person sought contrition for it. I mean, it's just shocking that he hasn't. It's not that he denies having done it, or maybe he does. I'm frankly not clear on that. I've heard it both ways, but not to say it was terrible, not to say I'm sorry, not to make any reparations. I think that's not what restorative justice is all about.
Yeah, we often refer in my line of work to prosecutors being the advocates of the victims, the lawyers for the victims in these crimes. And those prosecutors were your advocates, and they were not there due to a change in the law in California. I think that's probably going to end up being heavily scrutinized after this.
I don't think it's a law. I think it's a policy by the current TA. So that's a policy that can be changed.
That will, without question, get a number of sets of eyes on it after this. Kerry, I am so sorry to meet you in this circumstance, and I am so sorry that this has happened to your family. And I hope you'll allow us to follow this process with you as you continue your fight.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Ashley. And good night. Thank you.